September 25, 2025. A day that brought sadness to the worlds of sports, art, media. Stories of people we lost today are as different as the fields they mastered, yet each left a mark that will be remembered for generations. Today, we pause to honor their lives, their achievements, and the legacies they leave behind. Truth has no color, no gender, no age. Journalism is about giving voice to the voiceless, and that has always been my mission. Belva Davis was born in 1930, in a time when opportunities for women, and especially African American women, in journalism were extremely limited. From an early age, she showed an insatiable curiosity and an unyielding determination. She wanted to understand the world, to tell stories that mattered, and to give voice to those who were often unheard. Her career began modestly, working in local radio and small newspapers. Yet even in these early years, her talent, presence, and dedication were unmistakable. She had a voice that carried authority and warmth, a presence on camera that inspired trust, and a natural ability to connect with people. Colleagues recall that even as a young reporter, she approached stories with rigor, empathy, and a profound sense of responsibility. In an industry dominated by white men, Belva fought for every opportunity, often facing skepticism, prejudice, and systemic obstacles. She persevered, never allowing discrimination to define her career. Her resilience and professionalism led her to become one of the first African American women to anchor news on the West Coast, a groundbreaking achievement that inspired countless others to follow in her footsteps. Throughout her career, Belva covered some of the most pivotal events of the 20th century: the civil rights movement, anti-war protests, landmark political campaigns, natural disasters, and social upheavals. But she was not just a reporter, she was a storyteller. She humanized the news, giving audiences a deeper understanding of the people and communities behind the headlines. Her reporting went beyond facts, it conveyed context, compassion, and insight. Beyond her professional achievements, Belva Davis was a mentor and role model. She dedicated herself to guiding young journalists, teaching them not only the technical skills of reporting but also the ethics, courage, and empathy required to tell the truth effectively. Many of today's respected reporters credit her guidance for shaping their careers. She instilled in them the belief that journalism could be a force for justice, education, and social change. Belva's influence extended far beyond the newsroom. She became a symbol of perseverance and integrity. Audiences admired her not only for her reporting but for the courage she displayed in every story she covered. Colleagues described her as fearless, intelligent, and compassionate, a journalist who could stand her ground in difficult situations while remaining deeply human. On September 25, 2025, Belva Davis passed away. Her death marked the end of a remarkable era in television journalism, yet her legacy remains vibrant. Tributes poured in from former colleagues, students, and viewers who recognized the profound impact she had on the field. Stories of her mentorship, professionalism, and courage highlighted the unique ways she shaped media, inspiring generations of journalists and shaping public perception with every broadcast. Belva's story is also one of resilience and vision. She faced systemic barriers, overt discrimination, and skepticism, yet she never wavered. She opened doors for others, demonstrating that talent, integrity, and determination can overcome even the most entrenched obstacles. Her life reminds us that journalism is not just a profession, it is a calling, a responsibility to inform, challenge, and inspire society. As we reflect on Belva Davis's life, we see a woman who changed the face of journalism. She was more than a reporter, she was a trailblazer, a mentor, and a beacon of truth and justice. Her work, her courage, and her dedication continue to inspire journalists and viewers alike, showing us the enduring power of one individual to make a lasting difference in the world. Billy had an instinct on the field that you can't teach. He just saw the game differently. Billy Vigar was born in 2003 in the coastal town of Worthing, England. From the very beginning, his life seemed destined for football. Even as a young boy, his energy on the pitch and instinctive understanding of the game caught the attention of local coaches. They often said he had the rare combination of speed, vision, and precision that set him apart. At the age of 14, Billy's dedication and talent earned him a place in the prestigious Arsenal Academy. For any young footballer in England, this is a dream come true. The academy is known not just for producing professional players, but for demanding discipline, resilience, and excellence at every turn. Billy thrived in this environment. Day after day, he trained, studied game strategies, and pushed himself harder than anyone else, earning the respect of coaches and peers alike. His progression through youth ranks was swift. At Arsenal, he learned not just the technical skills of a forward, but the mental fortitude required to compete at the highest levels. Observers described him as having a natural football IQ, an ability to anticipate movements, exploit spaces, and make split-second decisions. By the time he was 17, he had made his mark in several youth tournaments, consistently scoring and assisting goals that left spectators in awe. Billy's journey didn't stop at Arsenal. He spent time in Derby County's U21 team, and later in Eastbourne Borough, where his speed and versatility became his signature. But it was at Chichester City, playing in the Isthmian League Premier Division, that Billy truly began to shine as a promising young star. Fans adored him not only for his skill, but for his humility and dedication. Teammates often spoke about his infectious enthusiasm, leadership on the field, and willingness to help younger players. Yet, Billy's story is not just about success and potential. It is also about the fragility of life and the risks athletes take every day. On September 20th, 2025, during a highly anticipated match in the Isthmian League, Billy faced one of the most ordinary yet dangerous situations on the football field, an intense duel near the edge of the pitch. While attempting to keep the ball in play and maintain his team's momentum, he collided with a solid boundary near the field. The impact was severe. Emergency medical staff rushed to the scene and immediately stabilized him. He was taken to the hospital, where surgeons performed emergency operations in a desperate attempt to save him. Despite their efforts, the injury proved fatal. Billy Vigar passed away at just 21 years old. The football community was shaken. Tributes poured in from teammates, coaches, and fans, who remembered him not only as a player with immense potential, but as a young man full of warmth, humor, and integrity. Social media lit up with messages mourning his loss, sharing memories of his goals, his laughter in the locker room, and his unwavering determination. Billy's story is a reminder of the fleeting nature of life, even for those at the peak of health and talent. It is also a story of passion, dedication, and the enduring impact a young individual can have in a short time. His memory lives on in the hearts of those who watched him play, trained alongside him, and were inspired by his courage both on and off the field. Art is not to be seen, it is to be experienced. If it does not move you, it has not fulfilled its purpose. Juraj Bartusz was born in 1933 in Slovakia, a nation rich in cultural heritage and artistic tradition. From a young age, he was fascinated by shapes, forms, and the ways objects interact with the world around them. Unlike many young artists, Bartusz did not limit himself to conventional sculpture. He was drawn to the very philosophy of art, to how it could transform space, engage viewers, and provoke thought. Studying at the Academy of Fine Arts in Bratislava, Bartusz mastered classical techniques, yet he never allowed tradition to constrain him. Early in his career, he began experimenting with materials, forms, and unconventional methods. He challenged the idea that sculpture was a static object. For Bartusz, art was a living experience. His works were often interactive, encouraging viewers to engage with them, to move around them, and to see the interplay of space, light, and perspective in new ways. In the 1960s and 70s, Bartusz began to gain international recognition. Galleries across Europe and the United States exhibited his work, from abstract metal constructions to monumental installations that invited reflection and participation. Critics praised not just his skill, but his conceptual approach. Each piece was a dialogue about perception, the human experience, and the interaction between artist and audience. Bartusz's artistic philosophy was deeply humanistic. He believed that art was not merely to be observed, but to be experienced and felt. This mindset influenced not only his own work, but generations of artists who studied under him. Teaching was a central part of his life. For decades, he guided students through the complexities of modern sculpture, encouraging them to explore unconventional techniques and to question the boundaries of traditional art. Many of his pupils recall his patience, curiosity, and insistence on experimentation. Bartusz emphasized that mistakes were part of the creative journey, and that innovation often arose from daring to challenge norms. Beyond the classroom, Bartusz was a pioneer in performance art. He staged immersive installations and live demonstrations, turning ordinary spaces into transformative experiences. Visitors were often invited to touch, move, or interact with his sculptures, creating a sense of co-creation between artist and audience. This approach was revolutionary at the time and cemented his reputation as a visionary who redefined the possibilities of sculpture. Despite his international acclaim, Bartusz remained humble and deeply committed to learning. He continued experimenting with new materials, technologies, and concepts well into his later years. Friends and colleagues describe him as endlessly curious, reflective, and generous, someone who viewed art as a lifelong journey rather than a destination. On September 25, 2025, Juraj Bartusz passed away at the age of 91. His death marked the end of an extraordinary artistic career, but his influence continues. His sculptures remain in galleries and public spaces, inspiring new generations to question, explore, and engage with art in fresh ways. His students carry forward his teachings, spreading his philosophy across the world. Bartusz's life is a testament to the transformative power of art. He showed that creativity is not confined to objects or galleries, but can redefine the way people perceive space, movement, and human interaction. Through his sculptures, performances, and mentorship, Juraj Bartusz leaves a legacy that continues to shape contemporary art and inspire viewers to engage deeply with the world around them. Art is memory on canvas, a way for a people to see themselves and remember who they are. Angelito Antonio's story begins in 1939, in the historic city of Malolos, Philippines, a place where the echoes of revolution and tradition shaped a young boy's imagination. Growing up during the turbulent years of World War II and the country's rebuilding that followed, Antonio learned early that art could be more than decoration. It could be a testimony, a way to preserve identity, and a means to capture the rhythm of life when words fell short. By the early 1960s, Antonio's work was already turning heads. He rejected strict realism in favor of bold shapes and vibrant palettes, layering tradition with innovation. His canvases portrayed the everyday: fishermen hauling nets, children playing in crowded alleys, women balancing baskets in the market. But through sweeping brushstrokes and daring color contrasts, these scenes became timeless symbols of Filipino strength and spirit. Critics soon labeled him a key figure in the modernist movement of Philippine art. He joined a generation of painters who sought to break free from colonial influences and to articulate a distinctly Filipino identity. While some artists chased purely abstract forms, Antonio remained devoted to the human figure. His people were not distant subjects, they were protagonists of national memory. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Antonio's career blossomed internationally. His exhibitions traveled from Tokyo to Paris to New York, drawing praise for their emotional intensity and cultural depth. Collectors admired the way his canvases seemed alive, textured with thick layers of paint, pulsing with reds, yellows, and deep blues. Journalists often remarked that standing before one of his paintings felt like hearing a folk song sung with both joy and sorrow. Yet fame never distanced Antonio from his roots. He remained a humble presence in Manila's art community, frequently teaching workshops and mentoring young talents. Students recall his gentle but uncompromising guidance. He urged them to experiment fearlessly but never to lose the heartbeat of their culture. "Paint your truth," he would say, "and the world will find it beautiful." Many of his protégés went on to become prominent artists in their own right, carrying forward his spirit of innovation. Angelito Antonio's art was also a quiet form of activism. In times of political upheaval, his paintings spoke of unity and resilience. Rather than overt protest, he offered images of everyday dignity: families sharing a meal, farmers at work, subtle reminders of what was worth protecting. Viewers found in his work not only color and form, but the essence of a nation's soul. Angelito Antonio passed away at the age of 86. News of his death spread quickly through the Philippines and across the international art world. Galleries lowered their lights, students and fellow artists flooded social media with tributes, sharing stories of the gentle master who had shaped their eyes and hearts. Critics described him as the painter of the Filipino spirit, a man whose canvases captured both the noise of city streets and the quiet breath of the countryside. Today, Antonio's works hang in museums and private collections around the globe. But perhaps his greatest legacy lives in the communities he touched, the young artists he mentored, the audiences he inspired to see the beauty in their own culture, and the Filipino people whose stories he painted with such reverence. His brushstrokes remain vibrant proof that art can preserve memory, ignite pride, and connect us all across time and distance. Today, we remember the lives of four extraordinary individuals: Vigar, Belva Davis, Juraj Bartusz, and Angelito Antonio. Each of them left a unique mark on the world. May the memory of them live on in the hearts of those they touched, in the stories they created, and in the inspiration they continue to provide every day. Today, we honor them with respect, gratitude, and warmth, understanding that the true value of a person is measured not only by their achievements, but by the light they leave behind.